Hello, 'tis I, Bulldog. Welcome to the experience that this is. Uh, if you're back from the many other adventures, welcome back. If you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. Builds the channel, makes me more popular, and allows me to continue doing this awesome little program that I have. Yeah. Oh, my cup is full. My bowl is full. And again, I am full of joy and happiness in the tremulous political landscape that we're currently going through. But there is some levity within that, and that is what today's program is. I sat down and joined my little brother on his evening constitution while discussing politics and the political landscape, as well as his running for the Rhinoceros Party of Canada. So yeah, I guess the only thing we can do is just Bulldog, Donovan, take it away. All right. My next guest is a bit of my own flesh and blood. He is currently up in Grande Prairie, Alberta. So pardon the audio, video. Oh, it's such a beautiful view. Audio, video bits. But this is now his fourth election running for the only party that you should vote for, the Rhinoceros Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my little brother, Donovan Eckstrom. Hello, Donovan. How are you doing today?
Oh, hello, Internet. I'm doing great. How are you this fine evening?
I'm sure everybody is just tickled pink, especially after that debate from our elected leaders discussing things.
Oh no, yeah, no, that was that happened. That was a thing.
Wasn't it?
I don't know what to say.
Wasn't it? I got about 10-15 minutes in and I just was like,
nah,
because better I'll go watch fishing videos. So what got you into politics, little bro? What made you want to do this?
In 2008, so I was 16. I remember watching on CBC. They said there's this party called the Neo Rhino Party, and they described it as wanting to invade Cuba with paintball guns to repaint Havana. And I said, this is my party, and I want to run for it. And then, 3 years later, here I am.
Many years later. There's again, as I said, this is your fourth election.
Yeah.
You ran in Grande Prairie 1 year, or your first year, and then you moved down to Edmonton. What was it? Grande Prairie, Edmonton, Grande Prairie,
or
was
it was Grande Prairie, and then Edmonton, Strathcona, then Edmonton Center, and then back up to Grande Prairie.
Okay, all right.
But now it's a different riding now. So that means I've now run in 4 different federal elections in 4 different ridings. It used to be Peace River, now it's Grande Prairie, Mackenzie. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, did they cut off? Where did they cut that off at? Like
so they've kind of split it down at Fairview.
Okay.
So it's pretty much, in a weird way, Grande Prairie, Mackenzie, you can't actually reach if you were to walk across without having to paddle across the river. Like, you can't drive. You have to go into, they call it Peace River. What's it? It's just a different riding, and it goes through Fairview, and it's this little clump, and then everything is next to Fairview. But so it's pretty much just all of northwestern Alberta, sans Fairview, and I think Peace River.
So you've run in all these elections 4 years. You must have seen quite the shift in leadership as things go. How are you feeling about the way that things are stacking up this upcoming federal election?
Oh yeah, the election with during a pandemic. I'm giddy. It'll be another minority government, and then we'll be doing this in 16 months, and I'm really giddy that this is going to happen again. I don't know. I don't like it. The reason I run for this satirical party, I don't like any of the options, and I think like my perfect political party is one that is, somewhat pro business but also pro big government, and there's nothing like that. So why not run Rhino?
Pro business and pro big government. So like more hands on for the federalist type deal. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Well, I like my favorite political candidate of all time is favorite politician is Peter Lougheed, who believed that government has an inherent good that it needs to deliver to its citizens. But he also was aware that you need to make money to make that happen. And it seems like political parties either pick the one side or the other. And I'm just tired of it. So I'm like, well, here comes the Rhino again.
Do you think that's going to be a trend that's going to continue? Like there's not going to be much of a shift in ideologies?
No, I think everybody's just picking their side and digging deeper. You can't be pro-government without being really super pro-environmentalist. And you can't be pro-business without hating the environment. And I'm like, I think we can have a compromise, but it's not really a thing. So I don't know.
You're not going to find it here. It just seems that even now, like in all aspects of all sorts of political standings, that it's an extremist ideology, right? It's us versus them, that absolute split down the middle. But that's an interesting thing about Canada, is that we have so many other options. It's not just Democrat, Republican. We have the Liberals, Conservatives, NDP, Green, Rhinoceros, Communist. Any other? What other ones have you found? Have you found any others?
Well, the big one in this riding is the Maverick Party, which is the Western Separatist Party, and they have a bit of a movement happening here. So we'll see how that translates on September 20th. But nothing else really. PPC. The People's Party of Canada as well.
People's Party, unlike the CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party, as well as
no, PP.
Great communist.
It's the party. The way to remember it is that the PPC party has the guy that breathes through his balls running. Yeah. PP testicles. Yeah.
Wonderful. I've seen some of your earlier the Rhinoceros Awakes, I guess, is the earliest politician or political ad that you're running. Are there more to come?
Oh yeah, no, I'm Friday. I'm going to be going around the Peace Country, recording some stuff. It's like in the next little bit, we've got a couple more and ready to go. But boy, my computer sucks. That 2-minute thing took about 40 minutes to crap out. So we'll see how these next couple take.
Oh Jesus, preach.
Gonna be a bit longer.
Oh, preach, brother. My computer is the same way.
You're like, I'm just gonna do this 2-minute thing. Oh Jesus. I don't know if it's ever gonna come out.
It'll be good. Are you you watched or had in sort of the background the leadership election chatter on tonight, which is we're filming just directly after Thursday's
September 9th.
Yes, the 9th. May the 9th be with you. What did you think? Did you hear anything that maybe might be good for anybody, or do you want to like not blackball your party?
No. Well, I didn't really like anybody. It was kind of just stupid. But Yves Blanchette, the Party Quebecois guy, was pretty fun though. The block guy, he just doesn't really care.
I heard about a bunch of stuff saying that there's a bunch of separatists. Well, he might be a separatist for Quebec, but my God, he makes some good points.
Well, no, because he doesn't. He's not going to be prime minister. So everybody's trying to, they're all walking on eggshells, and then Yves Blanchette says, like, I'm going to throw this grenade here. Good luck, everyone. And I think he did okay. Like, he was kind of fun. There was a couple of issues where he tried to compare white Quebecers to First Nations, which was kind of weird, but really for the most part, he didn't really give a shit, and it was kind of funny.
Amazing. So what are your policies? Do you have anything that you want to like say to if you were elected on the 20th, what sort of movements would you be pushing for Canadians in the upcoming year or so before the next election?
Yeah, no, we would as the Rhinoceros Party, we would actually probably try to call another election as soon as possible, preferably during like another pandemic, because everybody's pretty miserable, and then maybe another natural disaster on the East Coast to match the fires in the West Coast. We'll get another election going because there's so much fun and everyone's really happy about that. We're gonna one up the separatist parties. We're actually going to kick out the rest of Canada out of the West so that the rest of Canada will be not Canada. The West will be Canada. And then we're going to kick Quebec out twice because it just feels good to do. It feels right.
Feels right.
Yeah. And then, there's a whole bunch. We have a whole bunch of platforms. Mine, I sat on actually during an election forum. It's well-rounded and it's made out of wood. It was pretty comfy. That wasn't really comfy after the hour and a half mark, but it did the job. And I think that's better than a lot of these other platforms that the other candidates are running.
Well, of course, it's always good to have a nice platform built.
Huge,
to make sure that they know what's going on. You're getting a lot of media coverage, or am I like one of the big people that are actually sitting down and having a conversation with you?
No, I've gotten coverage from 2 of the radio stations in Grande Prairie, as well as the Town and Country newspaper, which is really cool. They interviewed me. But outside of that, the Daily Herald, which was the old newspaper up here, pretends I don't exist. So I plan on protesting that pretty soon. I'm just going to stand outside of their office, calling it the Dumb Herald, and get some pictures there. But no, it's been pretty okay.
Cover me now, you bastards.
Yeah, exactly. Just stand in front of there, get a couple pictures, everyone will laugh, and yeah.
You've done debates like with the Federalists, like the leaders, right? In 4 years, obviously you've gotten the chance to go and debate, right? Yeah. What was your favorite? Yeah. What was your favorite one?
Well, I always like having a crowd, but of course, given COVID
pandemic,
stuff,
yeah.
Actually, this most recent one was really good because we were all online. They could turn off the microphones, and so it kept everybody's responses really even, and it kept the show going. Mm-hmm. But like, I've had ones. I really liked the last one in Edmonton Center because they actually didn't invite me, and I made a really big stink about it. And then they said, you can speak for the first 3 or 4 minutes and then you're done. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that. And I got like a rousing ovation. And if you go on Twitter during that, people missed me when I was done. So I was like, yeah, sure. Like, hey, you know what? You give me 30 seconds. I will use that full 30 seconds as well as I can.
Well, this is important to have levity. I mean, a lot of people, like, especially today's political climate, I find it's really like harsh, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have dissenting opinions about anything, all of a sudden it becomes more of a burden than it does a boon, right? Like you.
Well, everybody. I think there's a lot of polarization going on, and it's like you can't. Like what I said earlier, that I think that an optimal government is one that is, pro business and pro big government, and I can't have that opinion. If I mention that to NDP supporters, they call me a capitalist scumbag, and I'm like, okay, cool, bye. Like, I don't know. Everything's all messed up. It's bizarre right now.
And intense is a word for it.
Yeah,
Intense.
and I'm just glad to, that the Chamber of Commerce in Grande Prairie allowed me to show up, and I had a good time. People laughed. I had a bunch of old, angry 90-year-olds complain about me, but that's excellent because that's like my Viagra. It just makes me stronger. It's like Popeye spinach. Give me more angry old boomer comments. Feels good.
Well, it's funny because you always hear that my grandfather died on the beaches of Normandy to make sure that you don't have that opportunity or like that sort. But that's exactly why they died on the beaches of Normandy, is to make sure that people have their voices heard, right?
100%. No, I think one of the things that ticked me off the most getting signatures were people saying, "What are you doing? You're stealing votes." And I'm like, what? Like, I'm wanting more people to go out and vote. Like, I think that when they finally pull their heads out of their asses, they can look around and realize, hey, wait a second. My allegiance is closer, like these people's allegiance is closer to that of like communist China, where they just want their one candidate to win, and then everyone's all happy. They don't want a bunch of people showing up. They don't like democracy. And versus me, I love democracy. Give me more people. I love it. More the merrier.
Would you say that the first past the post is kind of dead way of thinking? What would you would you go with, like, sort of that, what is it, the
proportional?
Yeah, proportional concept.
It's tough simply because each has their own benefit and loss of benefit. Because proportional representation, you don't have someone to complain to. You're complaining to a bureaucratic party, because they'll do probably a ranked ballot. That's kind of, I think, what Sweden does. And then you don't have a member of your district to complain to, because it's all just based on percentage of vote. What's nice about first past the post, and I think a thing that a lot of people, everyone's all pissed off at it. If I have an issue, I can complain to Chris Workington, because he is the guy who represents my riding. In my optimal world, it could never happen, but I think a way of doing it is keep the first past the post, but you have like each province have an independent ballot of like 3 candidates. So it's like Northern Alberta will have a list of independent candidates to vote for, and their allegiance will be to what Alberta wants, or not necessarily to what Alberta wants, but like what the Northern Alberta wants. You have like 3 each. And then you have this group of independents that can actually sway elections or sway votes for the good of Canada, for the good of their area, while keeping, of course, the same BS where people can get 3 million votes and not get a seat. It's weird. I don't know if it'll work, but I think something like that would be okay, because you'd have at least 30 independents sitting there being able to decide kind of what's going on.
Do you feel that the Senate needs to be taken care of a little bit better, like Canada's Americans is obviously elected, Canada's is appointed. Do you think it's time for the appointees to be ended and like we maybe start voting in, or would you find sort of that lethargicness within Canadian sort of electoral people permeating into that as well? Like just like, oh, who gives a shit? Vote for.
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's really funny that the Senate, the Senate, well, I know, right? A politician saying they don't know. It's funny how the Senate was such a big deal in 2015, and no one's talking about the Senate anymore. I don't know. I think it's typically just a rubber band thing. They'll accept whatever results there are.
Well, it's interesting, like because like again, you've gone through four elections. You've seen different policies, policies shift, and you can't. And the nice thing is if you get like majority of times, if you get voted out, people stop, right? But it's nice to have somebody like you continues to go and be like, hey, election time to run again. Who gives a shit?
It's bizarre because like the Senate in 2011 was huge. The Senate in 2015 was huge. And then they stopped doing it. And now it's just like, I guess the Senate's okay? Oh,
right?
What's going on?
Well, it's just interesting, especially like and like you said, well, just people just stop talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the pandemic kind of like trumped a bunch of stuff, pardon the expression, but I mean, it's just this concept of like, it's neat to see that just like, oh, well, we don't really care about that until we have to care about it again. Kind of like French, the separatists over there in Quebec, right? Like we didn't have to care about it until 1995, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, Parizeau and
and then it's
Lucien Bouchard there. All of a sudden it's like, oh shit. And then it went away again, right? Like as soon as they what is that? What? Oh, I just saw something. Never mind. It is getting very dark. Oh, that's a cow.
We got some cows.
I was like, what is that? Is that I saw something. Is that a did you walked over to the pasture, yeah?
Yeah, no, I've just been walking. Yeah, like I walk towards our little pit.
The car pit.
In the evenings, so you caught me doing that. Just making my way back, but yeah, I always stop by, pet the cows,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's good to see.
You're right. It's funny how these issues that are like election points that are what confirm or deny an election, they happen. And then everyone's just like, okay, it's all good now, even though it's like, there's still a lot of people in Quebec that want to separate, or, there's all this and that. And yeah, it's bizarre.
It's a big weight sitting on people's minds still. I guess that's sort of the thing is though, right? That us versus them, right? When Trudeau isn't in, or when the Liberals aren't in, and all the Conservatives great, but when the Conservatives aren't in, or the Liberals are in, and the Conservatives great. I don't know. I just feel that there's probably a better way to run a railroad, but
it's fun. No, a railroad is more fun when you have 4 different brains deciding where it goes. That's always fun.
Conductors
we're just gonna stop building. Yeah.
Conductors on the train. Let's just keep pushing forward. Jesus.
There's nothing here. But yeah, no, it's been it's interesting that you mentioned that. But yeah, it's like the Senate was big, and then you mentioned it during this interview, and I'm like, I haven't heard about the Senate since in 6 years.
Me neither. But that was the thing, right? It was such a huge thing, and again, it's so nice that you are. It's weird, like that you're continuously going on. I remember back when you should bring that up in a debate. Just be like, I think we should do Senate reform, motherfuckers, and like blow everybody's mind. And just be like, oh, you remember that hot button topic? Like maybe we should get back into that again.
What's that? wasn't that a weird time in Canada when we all just decided we hate the Senate for like 2 elections and now we just love it again, I guess? I don't know.
It's Jesus. And then what was it, our Governor General situation that happened.
Fiasco. Yeah, the whole thing. There's like little issues that pop up that you don't really think are going to be issues, and then you have a Governor General that's challenging people to like math-ish problems and making fun of them when they don't know it. And you're like, that's the last thing I was expecting to happen.
Oh, dear God. So you think it's going to be a minority government then, huh?
I do, yeah. I think it'll be a minority. I think it's going to be.
What I would say, but my guess is it's going to be a minority conservative, is my thought. But I could be wrong. What do you think?
I think it'll be a minority liberal because O'Toole kind of screwed over Quebec a little bit about the daycare in French. Mm-hmm. Nationalized daycare is a really big thing for Quebecers. And then he said, we're just going to scrap and give everyone tax credits. And everyone's just like, no, we've fought for this since like 1985. Like, this is a legitimate thing we've been going for.
Should have read his audience a bit better.
Yeah. But I think he'll get, I don't know. I think it'll be close though. I think he's going to pick up a couple more seats. Trudeau's going to lose a couple. And then,
what do you think about the NDP?
I think NDP will be about the same. Everybody's talking about how, Jagmeet Singh is like one of the most popular leaders, right? Like, he's the one that everyone's choosing or wanting to be prime minister. But that was kind of like with Ed Broadbent in like 40 years ago. And Broadbent got the 40 seats that the NDP usually get. Like, people like the NDP, but everyone wants the comfort of their liberal and conservative breakfasts, and they don't want to leave that safe egg.
That's true. That is true. That is very true. Yeah, it's well, we'll have to see what's going to happen. Well, anyway, Donovan, I can barely see you. It is late at night. Well, probably not late there. You probably still can see. Can you still see the horizon or?
Oh yeah, no, I can still talk for a little bit longer if you want.
Oh, you can? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about? Oh shit. What's going on in the States? How do you feel about that? Might as well, since we're talking politics.
When we talk. I run for the Rhinoceros Party because I think that Canada has a lot of fundamentals wrong. And I think there's a lot of people that are stuck in their ways, which isn't good. But at least we're not the United States, where it's all on fire. Did you see what the one Democrat representative said about the Taliban? It was like it was a couple days ago.
Oh God, no! What happened? I must have missed that.
I think this guy said something along the lines of he was disappointed in the Taliban's government for not having an inclusive government.
Oh, women on their government. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you're like, it's turning the whole country it's like a South Park episode. Oh. Like, that's something South Park would make. Being like, where's all the transgender representatives in the Taliban? Like, you're like, I don't think they're going to have that.
Like, oh my God.
It's bonkers and it's like, it's almost turning into a parody. And it's the same thing on both sides because the right is getting so bonkers and crazy too about how they're oppressed. These white dudes with small businesses that are doing okay, that they're feeling oppression. I feel like a black person. And you're like, no. Like, excuse me, but it's the same thing on the left. And I think that's another issue. People, and I think this is the same thing in Canada, people are very much into you can't critique your side. Your side is perfect. Your side is 100% accurate. and then you dig these trenches, and you can't have fun. You can't make fun of your side without people saying that, oh, you're going to give these support to these the Republicans. And you're like, well, no, I'm just saying that I think it's kind of bonkers. In Canada, we had that, the one liberal person saying our brother's the Taliban. And then everybody's just like, that's kind of a weird thing to say. That's kind of odd. And she says, well, no, it's a cultural thing. And everyone starts to defend it. And you're like, well, is it? Is it?
Well, I remember,
right
I remember vividly September 11th, 2000. We're coming up on the 20th year of that. And
yeah.
And I like mom and dad. I was coming upstairs, and mom and dad said somebody flew planes into the World Trade Center. I was like, yeah, right. So I get in the van, and it didn't have radio because I swapped it over into like the seat. So I'm listening to Ozzy driving in, and everybody's driving. There's still cars on the road, whatever. No big, nothing out of sorts. And then, you get to school. I was going to college at the time. And then you look up at the CNN fucking planes just, right? You're like, oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah. No, grade school. I saw that on the TV at the nice old age of 9.
I made the first joke, though. Arjun. You remember Arjun, right?
Oh, yeah.
He came around the corner, and when the planes, I was like, Arjun, what did you do? He's like, I was at home, man. Like,
right, dude. This is not on me.
But you know what? The worst thing is involving that was he was in Boston when the Boston Marathon thing went on.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, Arjun.
But I called him. Right. No, I called him. I was like, "Are you okay, man?" He's like, "Dude." He told me, he was like, "I was walking, like the whole thing happened, and then he's listening to the radio as he's walking home, and there's like." Brown guy wearing a black hoodie and backpack. And guess what Arjun had? This is a brown guy with a hoodie and a backpack. And he was like, I'm calling it Uber and I'm coming home. It's just like, holy shit. Yeah. Where I was going with this. But that what you were saying is on the side stuff, though. And like the back in the 80s and 90s, it was the right wing who was always sort of like, oh, you can't say that. It's not proper and blah, 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 blah. Now it's the left that I've been finding that it's like, you can't say that it's not proper. And I'm like, no. Like freedom of we need to be able to discuss stuff, because otherwise it just turns into a pile of shit, right? Like otherwise you're not going to get nothing done.
Well, it's kind of like, because there was in the 90s, the big PC culture was a thing. And then, but that stopped pretty quick because comedians and a lot of people were like, no, we're going to just say whatever we want. And then it died, and now it's back. But like, at the same time, I think a lot of comedians were punching down and taking easy targets and, saying all the offensive words and going after people that were not, it was stuff that like you look like I've watched some comedy stuff like Mad TV sketches or In Living Color.
I'm a huge fan of Dice, Andrew Dice Clay, and I mean like, and I don't like it's not really like his shit was just gnarly. It was ooey. You listen to him talk. Wow. At
the same time, like, and I understand the reason why it's good to always punch up. And I think a lot of comedians were taking that easy way out of doing the whole gay jokes and shit. But at the same time, I also feel that comedy and that stuff should be left off. You shouldn't get canceled for a bad joke because people will tell if it's a joke, right? Like when I watch, there was that guy from Saturday Night Live that had like the offensive jokes about the Chinese people, and he lost his job there. Like the dude was just telling some off the cuff jokes. It's not really good, but he shouldn't have gotten fired. It's like if you compare that to like Michael Richards at the Comedy Store, I'm like, okay, whoa, this is not comedy at this point.
Yeah, we went to a comedy store and fell into a Klan rally. Oopsie doodle.
People like, and it's like, if people know what's a joke and what's an attempt at a joke, that's not malicious. Like, that Kramer thing's perfect. You have a comedy environment and you have, everybody sitting there, you have a guy telling jokes, and then all of a sudden you're like, this isn't funny anymore.
Yeah, we're no longer in comedy land. We're into the uh-ohsville.
Yeah, and I think that there's a certain, when I was in Edmonton, I wanted to start like a comedy show late at night on like Sundays or like Saturdays. Not Saturdays, because Saturdays were busy, but like Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of it was to be you can say whatever you want, like the comedy black church of like, you can say literally anything and you'll be okay. And I had a lot of people say, this is awesome, we want to do it, but we can't because we're going to get in trouble. You're like, what? A lot of people really loved it. They said, this is a good idea, we want to do it, but we can't. And I'm like, that's annoying. I think that there's a sense of course, I'm saying this is a white dude, a straight white guy. But at the same time, I think comedy should just be off the tables. You should have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, and it's interesting that you seem to have taken the two things and went right, like the political thing, which is almost sacrosanct in like such a way, and then taking comedy and just going like, hi. We were talking the States as the Lord what's his name, Vermin.
Supreme Lord Vermin.
Yeah. And not only that, but also from there's the British dark helmet guy. There's the political weird. I mean, what's really interesting is Hunter S. Thompson back in the 1960s when he ran for sheriff.
Yeah.
Of what, Boulder was he from? Colorado?
Yeah, it was somewhere in Colorado. I think it was Boulder. But
yeah. But his local sheriff, he almost won. And the only way that they stopped the fringe from becoming, they had the
arresting and.
Well, no, the fringe becoming sheriff was that the right and the left had to go and say, we can't let this happen.
We can't have this dude here.
And then that's when they unified and made sure that Thompson was voted out or didn't get the recommended votes. But he was this close to becoming sheriff of his town, right? Yeah. And I mean, like, do you feel that there's a chance that one day people will just be like, screw it, let's vote the pig in, or dog, not the pig, you being the pig, but I'm just saying, is there going to be a chance in Canada that people are just going to say like, you know what, here it is, let's vote this guy in, let's see what they can do, these crazy.
Well, in Quebec in 1984, the Rhinos were having to run two people in ridings because the guy might have won, and so you ended up having. And if you combine the votes, they would have, like, if there was a one Rhino candidate, they would have won like over 4,000 votes. And the winner had like 6,000. And they had like 4,000 and 3,500, but they split the vote. I don't know. The thing is like what I've been hearing, particularly up here, is that like the Maverick Party has a lot of support as the legitimate protest vote. Or like it's because it's the conservative but not conservative vote, and a lot of people up here are going for that. But I've gotten lots of messages from people saying if the Maverick wasn't running, I would vote for you. And I think we'll see what happens with the Maverick Party. If they get really weird and odd and then they fall apart, then there's always a chance. I think there's always, I remember talking to someone that said you have a non-0% chance of winning. Which I'm like, it's true. Like, I have a better chance of winning this election than nearly everyone in this riding outside of 5 people. And I'm like, yeah, anything can happen. But I think if we keep kind of getting, I could see chances happening if we have a minority government this time, and then a minority government the next time if an election is called within 2 years. I think the rhinos will come back stronger than ever.
I think that would be interesting times.
Because, like, I think people could handle one more. People be pissed off if there's another minority government and they call an election in in 2 years. People will be pissed off, but they'll do it. But if there's another minority government outside of that, that's like from that, and then they call another election in 2 years, people will be like, I fuck these guys. Like,
let's vote for the
Christ.
Let's see what the fringies are gonna do.
Let's see what the fringe. Yeah, let's start seeing these weird parties will start to do a little bit better. That's when it gets kind of fun. So there's like a weird sick part of me outside of the fact that this election costs like what, $4 billion or whatever, and you're like, super.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. This is have you met Lucifer? Have I shown you Lucifer? He's a standard guy on our show. He's
adorable. He just wants some love.
Always. He comes over and says hello. He knocked over the light earlier, but I just said I got enough lighting.
Like the world. Yeah, I think what 80% of this I was just in the dark, just my face
and a cow, and then a cow.
There's gonna be like 1 20-second part where people are gonna be like, "What is that?"
That's what I did. I was, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
that's not you.
It was like a tongue and a nose. Yeah, you're like, what the hell is going on?
That was pretty funny. Well, my little brother, I guess on this note, I will let you go. But as per usual, I say if you have any social media that you want to plug, if you have anything that you want to your campaign, etc., etc. I as the saying goes, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Donovan Eckstrom. Look it up on Google. There's Donovan Eckstrom on Twitter, Donovan Eckstrom on Facebook. It'll autocorrect. It's pretty straightforward. If you want to like and follow that, that's fun. It's always wacky. We like to have fun. I just encourage people to vote. I know a lot of people will refuse to vote Rhino, which is fair. But I do encourage people to not vote liberal or conservative, because since 1867, we keep electing those two parties. And, there's still 50 First Nations settlements that don't have clean drinking water. And that seems to be a pretty constant with that. So I encourage people. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, what's the term of definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah,
maybe that's sort of our thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we keep thinking that's going to fix it, but that's not the case. Yeah, no, vote, but don't vote the two parties that keep screwing things up.
Absolutely. All right, Donovan Eckstrom, thank you very, very much for joining me on this fine Thursday evening. And look forward to this. I'll be posting this tomorrow, along with a little bit of an opening and closing commentary on my part. But again, thank you, my brother. You have yourself a good night. All the best.
Bye.
That's always fun, chatting with my brother. He's a sharp kid. I enjoy it. So thanks for sticking around if you made it this far. Again, please like, share, and subscribe, because it's nice to feel wanted. I normally put in an advertisement either here, beginning, wherever. We'll discuss whoever, whatever. I'll shill for dollars. It's all good. You can find me on my social media, Bulldog 666999. Also have Patreon, Bulldog 666999, Brendan Eckstrom. buy me a coffee would be appreciated. Or make sure my cup's still full and my bowl's still full. Other than that, I guess, as the saying goes, farewell for now. Thank you for coming. Skål. Until next time, keep it cool.